Hey folks, my name's Robert Haddo. I have hypermobile type Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and it sucks. Today I'd like to talk about rib pain, so I'm going to be making use of my poor beat up old skeleton, Agnes here. We're in the middle of flu season. People are coughing a lot, they're sneezing a lot, and we're going through repetitive forced expulsions of breath. And if you have a hypermobility spectrum disorder, that's going to be agony. We typically see that presenting in two key areas. One, through the cartilages where they attach to the sternum and to the ribs, or two, and the one I really want to focus on today, between the ribs and the vertebrae at the costovertebral joints. There's debate on whether they actually dislocate or whether they actually subluxate or not. I can tell you they feel clunky on me sometimes, so I tend to subscribe to the school of mechanical hypermobility and mechanical discontinuity of the articulating surfaces. But that's not really what I want to cover today. I want to go over how to explore it. We can break it down into some key variables and then see if we can build on a way to give ourselves some relief from that. One of the first things I like to check with is a deep breath in versus out. If I breathe in, does my rib hurt more versus out? All the way in, as full in as I can. So if I take a deep, deep, deep breath in, and I hold this, how does my rib start to feel? Little spicy, little tender. Not as bad as it's been throughout the day, but I can tell. What if I breathe out? What if I forcefully expel that breath all the way and just hang out there? That's kind of instant relief for me. So if I want to look at it simply in terms of a rib out flare versus in flare, out flare is an intolerant position for my ribs. I'm currently having pain in the left between just below my shoulder blade and about between where my shoulder blade and my spine sit. And so currently an exhalation pattern is relieving. It's not perfect, but it's a start. What if I add a bit of mechanical pressure? What if I just use my hands and I push in from the sides to start? Now, knowing that I respond well to breathing out, pushing in from the sides probably won't be nice, but it's not nice. So, collateral compression, no bueno. What about from the front? What if I give myself some mechanical duplication of that exhalation pattern? What if I just push in that subcostal margin, find the bottom of my rib cage, and that gives me pretty close to instant relief. As I hang out there for about 6 to 10 seconds, it's staying relieving, which is pretty huge. Right there, I now know that if I work a desk job, I could probably put a foam pad between my desk and my ribs and let myself sit abutted up against it and give myself just a bit of relief. That could get me through my workday. That's huge. What if we want to go a bit further? What if we want to look at movement intolerance? What if we want to look at spinal movement intolerance, absent of breathing, as best as I can do, and absent of me pushing on it? So I'm going to lean back, kind of stick my chest towards the ceiling, and that oddly feels kind of nice at first, and then it starts to get sore. So there's something there that's not horrible, but as I'm holding this, it's not getting better, it is getting worse. What if I slouch, let myself round my back? This is similar. There's an immediate kind of nice novel sensation, but it's not ramping back up. So slouching seems to actually be a little beneficial for me today. What if I go side to side? So if I lean to my right and I hold that, it doesn't hurt exactly, but it doesn't feel right. It's hard to describe it outside of almost like the physical feeling of apprehension in the joint. If I go to my left, that doesn't feel as good at first, but it also settles. So it seems like left side bending is a position that, while it's not immediately relieving, might be beneficial over time. What if I just rotate? I'm gonna cross my arms, twist to the side. We're gonna go with solid no on that. That's a solid no. I don't like that. Other side. Kind of feels actively good and uncomfortable. I'm going to put that in the check on it later bin. Now, what if I combine some things? What if I combine mechanical compression with movement? What if I take my hands wide, slap them on my rib cage, and just try to listen with my hands while I move around? I'm feeling with my hands for any feel of instability, and I'm paying attention to what hurts. I'm giving myself a bit of compression. A bit of compression takes that side bending and makes it a bit more tolerable both ways. Takes that slouching. Slouching still feels good. Extending also feels nicer now, actually. But it doesn't last. Towards the end of that, it was starting to get a bit crampy. Not the same joint pain, but almost like a sore, achy muscle. And if I rotate, right rotation is not fun. Not horrible, but it's an echo of it without the compression. Left rotation is much better than it was without the compression on my ribs. Now, right now, I'm just kind of compressing side to side. I could also compress from the front, or if I'm hypermobile enough through my shoulders, which I am, from the back. I already know compressing from the back hurts like hell. I'm not going to do that again. I tested that enough today, and it's an adventure. But from the front, I've been finding relief from that today. So what I've been doing is putting my hands at the bottom of my ribs here, kind of cradling along this sternocostal margin and along this subcostal margin, hands right in here, and I'm pushing in a bit. Mostly relieving, but a little cranky. I think I'm pulling out a bit much though. If I push more directly in, so I'm pushing inwards and backwards, that was immediately relieving. There are things I can do with this now. I can make educated decisions on this information. I can order myself a rib belt. I can, like I said before, sit with a pad between my ribs and my chair, my desk at my office to give myself some relief while I'm taking notes. Or I can position myself differently through my workday because I have a fairly dynamic career. I hope this helps. I know it's suboptimal. I know it sucks having to deal with medical practitioners gaslighting us all the time, or fixating on minute details when we say, hey, we think we have a rib out. And they say, ribs don't go out, and then they just ignore the rest of what we say. But we're stuck with it. So at the very least, we can explore. At the very least, we can try to collect our own data and maybe make some informed decisions that help us out. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thank you kindly.